Hello, Gail from Good Times Upholstery here again today. We've got box cushions. I'm going to teach you how to make some box cushions. I got about 8 of these. It has a zipper in the back with a long Velcro strap. Normally you just have short little Velcro straps that go around the post, but because of the style of these chairs, they're going to wrap around the entire back. There's no opening, so we're just going to wrap it around the entire back of the chair. I started to rip it apart to get the pattern. Just take a little razor blade and take it apart. And this is the fabric that we'll be using. This is the front, and that's the, I'm sorry, this is the back, this is the front, and we're just going to go ahead and I'll teach you how to make some box cushions today. I will be putting new foam in these, so they'll be a tad thicker, much nicer. Thicker cushions always look nicer than skinny ones. You do have to pay attention to the height though. A good seating height for a seat cushion when you're determining the thickness of foam. The seating height should fall with foam 18 to 20 inches. That's where your knee most people's knees bend, and it's a comfortable seating height. So you don't want to be too much less, and you don't want to be too much more than 18 to 20 inches, the finished height with the foam. So when you're trying to determine foam for a window cushion or a chair cushion, that's something just to keep in mind. It's Christmas time, and I've got music on. Turn that off. Now, I'm going to take the iron and just take the iron and so it'll be easier to mark the pattern out. Try to press this down so it's not folded up while I try to mark it. So wrinkle out. I'll just relax the fabric. It's just like putting water on it. Just works a little better than water. Now I'm going to go ahead and mark out 16 of these panels. Everybody has their own way of doing things, and obviously this person did some notches, probably to help relax the fabric a little bit maybe. Everybody has their own technique. Develop yours as you go along. This has got a slight arch to the back. Normally I could just take a measurement and do it, square it off, but this does have an arch to it, so it's always nice to have the pattern for it. Now I'm going to go ahead and make 16 of these. Okay, back to the cushion here. I want to explain a few things of what this is called. A panel, the top panel and then the bottom panel. This part here is called the cording, the welting, some people call binding, piping. It has wonderful names. I'm just used to welting, cording, piping. And then this is called the boxing. This piece here is called the boxing. And then on the back, you have the zipper boxing. Put the zipper in there. That's called zipper boxing. And you can get your measurements of what you need when you measure all around it. So how I do come up with the thickness is, for example, for like a 2-inch foam, like this one here, I'm going to be replacing it with like a 2-inch foam. Let's see if I can. It's a 2-inch foam right there. I usually cut my boxing a 1/2 inch bigger than what the foam is, so it will crown. It'll have a little bit of a crown. Sometimes I'll even go to like a 1/4 inch bigger. Like if it's a 2-inch foam, I'll cut my boxing 2 1/4 inches. Depends on how much crown I want to give to it. So, but right now I've got these at 2.5. And then my zipper boxing, how I calculate my zipper boxing is if I'm cutting at 2.5, whatever I cut my boxing to, then I cut, what I do is I take, my boxing's 2.5, I add 1.5 inches. 1.5 inches to it. Whenever I do my boxing, whatever it is, whatever size this is, my boxing, I add 1.5 inches, divide it by 2. And so this comes out to be 4, and then I divide it by 2, so then I have a 2-inch boxing and a 2-inch boxing. And then the welting, the piping, the cording, usually I cut it on the bias, which means you cut it on an angle. I'll have to show you that at another time. But instead of cutting it long ways on the roll or cutting it up and down on the roll, you actually cut it on a diagonal. But because this lady didn't have enough fabric, I did have to cut it straight across. When you cut it on the bias, it makes it easier to sew, easier to go around corners. It lays nicer. It's so much better if you can cut it on the bias, on a diagonal, rather than straight across or up and down. But when you don't have the fabric to work with, you work with what you got. It looks like this was cut on a bias. You can see the diagonal of the fabric here. I don't know if you can zoom in and you can see how it was cut on the bias, because these are all up and down, but yet this is cut on a diagonal. So anyway, alrighty. I'm getting ready to sew the zipper first. Turn it upside down, the zipper, facing the fabric. A lot of people try to bring me those zippers, but they're zippers. I need a wider flange on my zipper, so I like to use my own zipper when I go to use it. And it comes on a large bolt, so I can cut it however I see how much I ever need to. And then I'll lock it in place. So when I sew it onto the cushion, I'll lock the ends in so they won't come apart. Then you have to turn it over once you sew the one side. Sew the other side. I don't have a zipper foot for my sewing machine. There is a zipper foot so you can get a little closer to the zipper. But I don't have one. I just use my single welt cord foot to sew the zipper on. Again, I do the back of the I sew the front. This is the front. Put it on backwards. Face to face, front to front, so to speak. Over. This is the way I sew zipper. I know other people have their own way of sewing zippers, but this is the way I sew. I like to put my thumb up in here and it kind of pushes that over. So pushes right up against the other one. Then we have these loose glides. Take it, slide it on, kind of tear it apart a little bit, and then slide it down. And then this so it just doesn't come apart while I'm working with it. Just put a little stitch in there. And I'll actually sew fabric on the back of it when I get ready to go put it on. So. That's how you do a zipper. Okay, I'm taking my welting, my piping, cording, welting fabric, and I'm going to just add an extension to it just to show you how that works to the fabric. Sometimes you have to piece it if you don't, the welting's not long enough, which is the majority of the time. You take it and you fold it on top like this, make a right angle, face to face, face to face, right angle, and we're going to sew on a diagonal, top to the other corner. Back stitch. I do it about 2-3 times to lock it in. Trim it up. And piece together. Okay. Like I said, this lady didn't give me much fabric, so I'm trying to make whatever I can do stretch out here. Some people will take the cording, the piping. This is the piping, the cording, and they'll put this in here. And my foot, if you can see, I'm not sure if you can see that, has a little bump right there, and that's where the piping, oops, it's going to slide right in there. Okay? Some people like to, oops, they'll sew this up first, like this, and they'll get all like that, and look at that, but I don't. I like to sew it all, I sew it together at one piece. I fold it in half, put the edge to the edge, and because this is an arch, this has an arch, so I want to, because this is not on the bias, especially even if it was, you want to put little cuts to help make it bend a little bit. Just little cuts. Don't use really good scissors because you don't want to cut through the whole. I got getting to a corner here. I'm gonna go ahead and put a cut in there. Oopsies. lifting my pressure foot when I go do the corners. See, I'm lifting that pressure foot up when I go do the corners. Put it down. Want to stop just back where you know your good seam allowance is for that. And like I said, I like to use 3/8. Some people use 1/2 inch. I use 3/8. Yeah, everybody has their own way of ending it. I find out where my two cordings are meeting. Snip it. They'll meet together. I come back further past where this is here. I fold this flip over. Put that under, that there. And you can, I mean, you can put that on the bias if you want. Put it on, fold it on an angle. Some people do that. And then you'll do that to the other panel. So, and then again, you sew the cording and the welting onto that. Do that to the other panel. Going to get ready to make the Velcro ties. This here is the Velcro. It's a sticky Velcro on the back. And I'll stick it, makes it easier to sew on by having the sticky on there so it doesn't slide all over the place. I'll show you how to do that. I got my strip. Made about a 3-inch wide strip. Fold this over. Oops, my machine's messing up. Out of bobbin.
Sticky adhesive is great, but it's not going to stay sticking, so I will be sewing this on there. Alright, now I'm going to cut it in half, because they're going to be sewed on different ends of the cushion in a minute. I've got a pattern here, so I need to match this up. This pine is what I'm going to call it, a spine, because it looks like a spine. I'm just going to lock
lock it in place. Some people like to sew on this side, I like to sew on this side. Everybody's got their preferences. Attach the zipper boxing. Try to match it up some. I made my zipper boxing a little longer because I just wanted to be sure. I didn't cut it too short because sometimes when you sew the zipper, it likes to shrink up. Velcro on here. One strip. This side I'll do face down. Grab a little. Told you I was going to lock in the zipper on the bottom, so I'm putting this on the bottom of the zipper. Just helps it glide, not to, go all the way to the end. This is to the end of the zipper, so.
Forgot my Velcro. So that one is face down. This one will be face out. The opposite. So we're sewing it on. Now, just try to sew the corner, put the one corner in, and you try to sew this all the way around. It's going to stretch, and you're not going to have straight corners. So what you need to do, so I'd latch these two together so they don't get in your way. Good thing is we have stripes here, and so they're going to match up to there, but match up. But if so you can use the stripes to help keep your corners straight. But if you don't have stripes, what I normally do is I'll take the after I have it, I fold it to where that corner is, right there, like that, right to that corner, right there. Bring it out, put a little V cut in there, just a little one. I do it to all the corners. Like I said, the stripes are going to help on this, so it's not so big. A big deal. Now these, I know where the corners are because I've had the sew line in here. So I don't need to lose. Tuck this on top. Got my curved in the back. Take that little V cut, right there. Put it right to the corner. That cushion. Make sure it's in the corner. And I just lock in corners. I go to each corner, and I'm going to lock each corner in. Like I said, if I tried to sew all this around starting at one corner, it's all going to get lopsided. Some people, you can just sit there and know where the corners are and pull it, stretch it to it, and you can do that too. And I have done that, but locking the corners is always the easiest. Again, now I already know what the corner is because of that seam right there. slides on your zippers. You don't want to forget. That's happened. Somebody calls, you walk away just as you're finished.
Okay, getting ready to stuff these cushions. I got the foam marked out. Foam cutter. Cut this foam and get one of these cushions stuffed. See how it's done. Ready. I'm going to trace the next one, so I already have it marked. This will be. I'm actually going to cut this one because I don't want to, every time you cut, it could change the template. So you always want to stick with the original one that you're using to make your patterns with. You don't want to take this one and then cut another one, and it'll end up changing the whole thing. So always stick with your first one that you've got. Sort of like that when you tell somebody something a secret and you pass it to the next person, and the next person, and the next person, and by the time you get to the end, it totally changes. That's what you do. That's what you don't want to happen. You don't want to have that issue. Template. I'm going to actually put another layer on top, so I'm going to double this up. This is a foam and fabric adhesive I use. So it stays like contact cement. Spray on kind of on both sides, and then it'll grasp. But you don't need a lot of it. I'm just going to do the one side. Now I'm going to wrap the whole thing. If it turns out it's a little too padded, then I'll reach in there and just pull that out. The one that I put in there, but like a little more padding. This is how I stuff a cushion. Take some plastic. You can take a trash bag, turn it inside out. I'm not inside out, but stuff your cushion from the. Well, I'll have to show you. I'll show that in another video. Too complicated to explain, but it's really easy actually. Make sure there's no holes. This is used. Right there, but I think it's right around that. You want to make sure you don't have holes and. Up into the corners. So it goes up in there. Pushed up so it pushes up towards the front. So it fills up there at the front there. Now we gotta take out the plastic. We can't leave that in there. There is a plastic that you can, and it's called silk film. But it's a lot more expensive, and it makes no noise. Whereas this still makes noise. And plus, you don't want to really leave it in there because it'll airlock the cushion, and you'll feel like you're sitting on a brick. So, if you've got a customer who wants to sit on a brick, you can do it then. But I still take it out. Corners. Just corners. Try to get the cording, the welting piping cording, or whatever you want to call it. Kind of push that lip down. Push it down, down. Go around, push it all the way down. Sometimes you gotta bang it, get the air, go back out. I'll go ahead and trim it. We'll be good to go. And I'll show you the stack when it's all done. Here are the 8 cushions completed. And all the Velcro ties. There they are. All 8 cushions.